struggle that we go through in life, for every situation, for every challenges that we go through in life, there is always what we call the waiting period. And so the waiting period is not a word, two words rather, and not two words that are common to preconception couples alone or preconception mothers alone. So a couple can be struggling in their marriage and they're going through a waiting period. Another couple can be struggling with in-laws and family issues and they're going through a waiting period. Someone in school could be struggling with the academics and they're going through a waiting period. What is that waiting period? What is that time that someone has to wait and travel and hope for something good to actually come through? Now I'm going to be talking about how to actually wait, how to actually wait without feeling overwhelmed or feeling stressed or losing your faith or your hope. You're welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about how couples, mothers, as preconception mothers and preconception fathers, can actually wait and what are the things that they need to do. So I'm going to divide this video into two. So there's going to be a part 1 of this video and a part 2 of this video, and I'm just going to be talking about what to do during the waiting period. These are going to be practical things that I am doing on my preconception journey. And whilst we wait, what are you going to be doing? Whilst I wait, what am I going to be doing? So now I'm going to be talking about something quite profound. So there's this video sometime in 2010 or 11 I watched of a couple who were together and they kept on having issues, marital issues, disagreements from here and there. The husband wasn't doing things that the wife was expecting him to do. The wife wasn't doing the things that the husband was expecting her to do. So they just always would have rifts, and they got to a point where they said, hey, I'm done, I want to end this marriage right away. And for that couple, you want to believe that was a waiting period for them in their marriage. Yes, they were not actually actively looking for a child, but they were experiencing difficulties in their marriage in terms of their relationship with themselves. And so they were experiencing a difficult time because they got to a point where they said, hey, I'm done with this marriage, I just want to end it. Thankfully for their parents, actually the guy's parents now, they were godly parents, they came into the marriage and they said, you know what, I have this book that I wrote down some things, I want you to try this out. And they gave it, the father gave it to the son and said, try this out, right? And do this for 40 days and let's see if you would actually want a divorce. And then he started out, trying out those things each day. They were taxes. By the way, he wasn't a born-again Christian, so the father just said, hey, try this out. And so he decided to try it out. In between trying this thing out, he gave his life to Christ and started out, living the lifestyle that he wasn't living before. So he used to be a porn addict. He used to just feel like, oh, because he's a good person at heart, because he was a fireman, he would just go do his fire job every time. He's always saving lives, so he felt like that was a no, and so his wife should see that and appreciate it. But this was his wife saying, hey, all you do is sit around on the internet and watch pornographies and all of that. So the wife didn't just see all of those things, but when he started doing those taxes that was in the book, he discovered that was there was something actually was doing that was triggering the wife. And eventually he learned from that experience, from the stories that was written in the book that the father had given him. So there was a song that was sung during the movie when he was when he was in the waiting period, which was the 40 days. And the song said I know something about waiting. It said something about I will worship while I'm waiting. I will worship while I'm waiting. I will not fail. I'll be something. I'll be dancing because or something. I'll be doing something while I'm waiting. Well, so that is where I'm going to be going into right now. What are you doing while you are waiting? Are you going to be worshiping? Are you going to be putting in the right resources? Are you going to be learning? Are you going to just sit back and just say, well, I don't have children yet, so I might just lie down and not do anything. So today, I want to share 3 things that you can do while you're waiting. I'm going to be sharing it from the perspective of, for the first part now, I'm going to be sharing it from the perspective of normal life things that you would have to do while you are waiting. And I'm going to be showing the financial part whilst you are waiting as a preconception couple. This is very important, and I want you to really, really take note of this session. So the first part of this video is saying, hey, the first things that you need to do is develop a heart of worship. Yes, it's quite difficult for you to stay hopeful and still worship God. I struggle with it even as a preconception couple, but because I know that I've found myself in situations where it looks like the world had come to an end. It looked like, oh, this was the dead end, and I've seen God come through for me in those situations. And because he did come through for me in those situations, I can now hold him. So I have friends who say, how do you get to trust God so well? I'm like, I've seen him come through for me in some situations. I've seen him do this thing. I've seen him act outrightly save me from a certain situation. I've asked him for things, and I say, okay, if you want me to do this, show me this. I've seen signs. So it is for me a personal experience. So this is me telling you, do you know God for yourself? Have you experienced him? Have you actually sought his face in a particular issue, and you've had him come through for you? And there you are faced with another issue. What is stopping you from trusting him for this one? So how well are you actually trusting God at this time of your waiting? So one of the things that you would do now that you're waiting is you have to remember the old things that God had done for you and how he came through for you, even when it looks like everything was down, like it was a dead end actually, and he came through for you. That is your turning point, friends. That is your turning point, mother. That is your turning point, father. So you would need to realize that if God had come through for you in that situation, he is going to come through for you right now. So think about it. Maybe you drop this video, go back, remember when was that time I actually needed God to come through for me, and he did. That is your breakthrough point, because if he did it before, he will do it again, guys. If he did it before, he can do it again. Same God back then, same God right now. So that is my testimony for you guys. If God had done it before, he will do it again. So go get that thing that he had done before and hold on to it, and remind him that if he did that before, he will do it again. So the second thing that I want you to do is worship. One of the things that opens up our mind and helps our mental health a lot is worship. Now, if you notice, worship makes you vulnerable. Sometimes you find out that when you're worshiping, you just can't hold it, you just start crying, and then you stand in awe, and you remember the awesomeness of God. You think about his glorious grace upon us. Whilst we were yet sinners, he bestowed his love on us, sent his son Jesus Christ to come and die for our sins. When you think about it, and then you just sit back, and then you just raise your hand. Sometimes you just close your eyes, and then you raise your hand in total surrender, and you're just worshiping. So what even made me remember that place of worship was the song that was sung in that movie where the couple had issues, and they said, I will worship while I'm waiting. What would you be doing while you're waiting, friends? One of the things I want to encourage you to do is to worship while you are waiting. Yes, in that very uncertain time. It's hard. I'm there. I know what I'm saying. It's hard. But you would have to always get a support group, get a support family, get someone that you can, hey, tell how you feel, and let them be that person that can remind you, hey, go back to the place of worship. It could be hard, but always try as much as possible to bring yourself to the place of worship. That is what that is what will open up your mental health and keep you in a healthy place mentally whilst you are waiting. Another thing I want you to do is work on yourself. Yes, work on yourself. So one thing parents don't realize is that, I always say this, when it has to do with parenting, it's more about you. And these things I'm sharing with you are the things I am doing daily on my waiting period. And sincerely, I would not come here and share things with you that I'm not doing. So I'm saying work on yourself. And when I sit back and I'm like, oh, if I had a child in the first month, when I just got married, because that was what I wanted. I wanted to just have babies and get it done and dusted and move on with. But it didn't come through. And then when I look back, the person I was 3 years ago, I'm far different from the person I am today. I'm more patient, I'm more kind, I'm more willing to learn, I'm more open to learning from people. I want to become a better version of myself. I've begun to prepare myself for the parenting journey. I've put myself in certain scenarios of parenting people, of parenting children. I've visited people and I see the way their children behave, and I put myself, I'm like, okay, Didion, how would you behave if your child did this? I've ran those things through my head, and it has made me now look at the deep-seated issues that I would probably have that would affect my parenting of my children. So now, whilst you are waiting, how are you working on yourself? Are you actually spending the time that is required of you to put in the work to become a better person? You used to be verbally abusive. You know you cannot and shouldn't abuse your children. So sometimes it's very hard. You think that, I won't do that to my child, but you're doing it to some other person. And you think that when the child comes, you won't do it. You won't know when it happens. So how are you learning to tolerate, let me not use the word tolerate, how are you learning to, use emotional intelligence in the situations of life that occur to you daily? Because when your child comes, hey, I deal with mothers and I know that parenting is super, 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 super different. Yes. So how are you actually preparing yourself emotionally for your parenting experience? It is not until you become a parent before you start preparing yourself. So start now, start working on yourself, start looking out for resources that makes you learn. It's not just about, when I tell people, it's not just about trying out the medical approaches to get pregnant. There's so many aspects. I think that the period of wait of the trying to conceive period is a gift. That's how I say it. It's a gift because God is trying to get you ready for something. God is probably going to send you someone that He wants to use for something, and He wants you to be in the right frame of mind to be able to handle that person and to be able to give them the right form of care. What are you doing this period that you are waiting? So first things first, I said, number one, you would have to, have faith. Remember the thing that God did before, because if He did it before, He would do it again. Number two, I said you would have to worship while you're waiting. Worship opens up your mind, makes you look at how awesome God is, how supernatural the power of God is, and what He can do exceedingly abundantly than we could ever ask or imagine. So that's number two. Number three, you would have to prepare yourself, prepare in form of learning. Open up your mind. Start putting yourself in situations that would happen, because it's going to happen. And you're going to testify, guys. Yes, you're going to testify. So prepare yourself. Start being excited about the parenting journey and start working on yourself. Yes. So I want you to stay put and watch the part 2 of this video, where I'm going to be talking about another aspect of preparation as you wait on your preconception journey. Thank you so much for joining this one. Watch the part 2. Bye.